I'd like to go ahead and call to order this meeting of the Economic Development Advisory Commission. And Ms. Lisa, if you wouldn't mind doing roll for us?
And then we'll do the pledge? Or do you want to?
Yeah, the pledge is listed afterwards for me. Oh, okay. Here. I am present.
Commissioner Sixta? Commissioner Zimmerman? Here. Commissioner Bennett? Here. Commissioner Wilson? Commissioner Reisinger?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Brian, do you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. We're going to go to item 1, approval of the minutes. We have 2 things to approve here. That's approval of the regular meeting minutes from March 12th, 2024. Can we approve them together in one motion, or do we need to do this twice, Lisa? Twice, okay. Consideration of the March 12th, 2024 regular meeting minutes as written or with noted corrections. All those in favor? Aye. Item B is approval of the special meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2024. Consideration of the May 2nd, 2024 special meeting minutes as written and with noted corrections. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Do we have any public comments today, Ms. Lewis?
No public comments.
Thank you. We are going to go slightly out of order in consideration for our guest speakers' time. We're going to skip down to item 4, new business. Item A, guest speaker Nikki Terleski, the Director of Operations for the Historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, will speak about the association, what the association does, and grant opportunities available to Kingman Route 66 businesses.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Nikki Terleski. I am with the Historic Route 66 Association of Arizona. We have a gift shop and our offices in the Kingman Visitor Center. Our organization was founded in 1987. Our mission is to preserve, promote, and protect Route 66 in Arizona. We do that a few ways. We organize the fun run. We also promote Route 66 in Arizona through a few different avenues, brochures, our website, social media, and then we also have a grants program. We give out 2 types of grants. One grant is available to nonprofits, cities, government entities, tribal entities, and educational institutions. That is up to $25,000 if your project preserves, promotes, or protects Route 66 in Arizona. And then we also have a separate grant that is open to businesses, and that is up to $10,000. And again, it must fit with our mission. We have given quite a few grants here in Kingman, including the landscaping for the Main Street walking tour on Andy, new roll-up doors at the corner on 66, plumbing at Mud on 66, new windows at Scoops on 66, the Angel exhibit at the Kingman Visitor Center, the refresh of the Grapes of Wrath exhibit in the Route 66 Museum. We refurbished the Route 66 neon sign at the motel, and we also gave a grant to the Beale Street Theater. So anyone interested in applying for a grant can absolutely reach out to me. We have all kinds of information on our website as well, deadlines, dates, information. Any Kingman business is welcome to apply if they believe they fit into our preserve, promote, protect Route 66 in Arizona.
Thank you. Any commission members have questions for Nikki or comments?
Okay.
Can I ask a quick
Yes.
question? Love what you guys do. Enjoy partnering with you in the tourism sector. Are you guys gonna have new rack cards coming out soon?
Yes.
Awesome.
Mhm. Anyone who would like information, we have lots of brochures, passports, pamphlets, rack cards, can absolutely contact me to get any of those to have in your business or your to
Yeah,
hand
I
out
think you
to
guys are a
visitors.
great
Yeah.
resource. If you guys haven't been to the Route 66 Association kind of side of the powerhouse, you should definitely go check it out.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. We are going to jump back to item 3, old business. This is Art in Public Places Projects, Economic Development Director Bennett Bradley to update the commission on the 2 Art in Public Places projects, the Muffler Man and the Leaning Route 66 Shield. Bradley will share input from the City Council meeting where these were presented on 5/21. This is for information purposes only.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairman Gish and Commissioners. Yeah, we just wanted to give you guys an update on the commission meeting, or the council meeting, where we discussed these 2 items. And these were the items that the commission approved at the last special commission meeting. So happy to announce that the Leaning Shield, the 12-foot leaning shield, the 66, where participants can sit within the 66 or take pictures around it, was approved by the council unanimously. And the location of that was approved as well. We're going to work with Parks and Rec at the Lewis Kingman Park location. And we are currently going through the RFP process for that right now. We hope to have that finished this week and be sent out. So we're excited about that. Unfortunately, the Muffler Man project did not get approved. The council just felt that there was some areas where it didn't fit, as well as there were comments about businesses maybe needing to participate in the project. And so it was unanimously not approved. There was some discussions around some other neon potentially being looked at, which our staff will always continually look at neon. And we currently have some neon projects that we have been focusing on. One of those is the possibility of lighting up the Hotel Beale someday. We've been looking at that, as well as we're always keeping our eyes open for other old neon signs that might become available. And also the location, we need to have electric, you need to have a lot of things that line up for those to be located. So with that, I also have Josh here as part of that, and I know there might be some additional discussion around any questions you guys might have about those 2 items. So with that.
Commissioners, who would like to go first? Absolutely.
I'd like to commend the tourism group and Josh for their out-of-the-box thinking to try and expand the base of tourism in Kingman. Tourism is very important to us, as we all know. They bring in those tax dollars. So, good work. Let's come up with some other ideas, too.
Commissioner.
I'm not really sure where to begin on this. With all respect, is it working?
Do you have the mic on?
Yeah. Okay. It's green.
Bring it closer. Thank you, John. There you go.
And with regard to the fact that we have a city council person here, I was pretty disgusted with last Tuesday. We sat there and listened to some really weird rationale why they didn't want this. And one of our own got up there and had to make that comment again about 2 Texas car dealerships. And so then they started leaning toward, well, why don't we split the cost? They completely lost sight of what we were doing in tourism. They just missed it. Let's put it in front of a bowling alley. We can put a ball in one hand and a pin in the other or something. Maybe they'll pay for half of it. Had nothing to do with trying to share the cost, and I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. The Texas comment was about a couple car dealerships. It may have worked fine for them, and it still may work. But according to Josh's numbers, this thing probably has the potential to bring some tourism if we treated it like that, not as something that, well, maybe somebody else will pay for it. Very, very disappointed in their approach to this. A couple people that thought it was kind of an okay idea before the meeting ended up voting against it. And I don't know where they got off the rails or what happened, but possibly a couple people on the council were that persuasive in there, oh, we don't want this or whatever. Again, I'm not really, I could go on, but it's, I can only insult so many people at a session. But it really was a poor performance, I thought, on their part, and the way that they looked at that. And again, the work that had gone into it, the special meeting, and the sense that they wanted to look at it, and it got turned around somehow. I don't know what that was all about, but I have a bigger concern. It probably has little to do with this meeting, but the city council in the future, if they think they should take the cups over the conditional use permit process and start trying to design every building and whatever. And comments like, well, we don't want any more metal buildings in Kingman. There's no need for us because this town ain't going to grow. They vote against everything, it seems like. There's 1 or 2 that don't like it. The others seem to fall in line. So again, my apologies to current city council people, but I thought Tuesday was scary, and the fact that if they want to take on more power and have more authority on approval and of projects and such, they're just going to continue to lose more projects in this city.
I think we do want to focus on the one
Yes.
item, but
Sorry.
I'm not done.
I figured. But I do echo your sentiments. I do think that there is a reason why there's an entire city staff behind that, and that the staff put a lot of time and effort into the project they were working on, and I do appreciate you bringing that project back to us. I think we talked about it here at this commission 3 times, and I know you talked about it with city council as well. I do feel like there was maybe a lack of understanding on what the purpose of the project was, and that was one of the comments that was made by a city councilwoman. And there were several of us from the commission in the audience that could have been asked, but I do think that we do need a project that is going to draw people in off the highway, especially with the change with the I-11. That's going to be important. Super excited about the Leaning Shield project, but that project doesn't fit that role. It'll be great for graduations. It's great for tourists that are already here, but they're not going to see it off the highway and go, oh, what is that? Let's stop here instead of going on. So I do appreciate all the work that you and your team put into it, and I'm really sorry that they chose to talk about the project in the manner in which they did. I felt like that was definitely ungracious.
Well, does anybody else have any comments?
John would like a second chance.
No, I'm calming down. The bottom comment, I don't know if Lisa put this together or somebody else did, was this a project that EDAC supported? Where did that come from?
That was said by one of the city
By one
council
of the-
members.
And they obviously missed the, well, anyhow, I just thought that was kind of interesting. When it says,
It did state on the city council agenda that it was approved by the
yeah,
EDAC
and
commission.
I don't know why that, again, maybe they just weren't paying much attention. When we go through these city council meetings and it says approved by staff or denied by staff, who really is staff at this point on this issue? Because they approve this thing. And that happens all the time. They go against it after discussion, and for good reasons probably. But I just don't understand how this got off the rails.
I think we'd have to go back and talk with some of our city council members individually to discover that.
May I make a few suggestions for tourism to consider? Having, not being an expert on tourism, but having been a tourist, I've noticed that around the world, there's a variety of smaller life-size statues that sit on park benches for people to sit next to and take note of. But I was thinking, you know, you've just on the cowboy theme, if you had a cowboy greeter that had his arm extended to shake a hand, that seems like a great photo op for every employee, for every tourist that comes in. There are other possibilities. For example, Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart life-size standing near the airport cafe. That brings in the history of Kingman, not so much Route 66, but it is, you know, a pair of famous people who visited here and put Kingman on the map in the 1920s. The other kinds of things I'd like to throw out is there was discussion at the city council about the I-40 and Stockton Hill exchange and the fact that they wanted some plantings or something like that, but it didn't make a lot of sense because of the cost of irrigation. How about metal or ceramic art that talks about Route 66 or about Kingman? Some of the history, if you look around some of the overpasses in Las Vegas, they have some very interesting art. I'm sure you'll find some other places like Phoenix that has decorations on their interchanges. That's something that tourism could probably look at and make a lot of suggestions on. Two more things. Should you consider some tourism training for staff at hotels and other shops and such, just to make it easier for them to make suggestions, as well as I'm sure you're putting a lot of brochures out at all the hotels and
That
such.
is part of their strategic plan that we approved
But
just
a little
few
bit of
weeks ago.
training or a sheet that talks about how to train might aid in just putting the bug in the ear of the tourists who come in. And finally, I'm sure there would be room to grow Kingman's tourism if we had the EB Museum set up in the old Safeway.
All right, well, I appreciate those ideas and concepts, and our staff will definitely take a look, and we will continue to look for ways to draw visitors off of I-40, as well as get them to look at Kingman as a place to come and visit, to see these things.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're going to move to item B, if that's okay with you. We move Commissioner Zimmerman, ASU graduate project. Commissioner Zimmerman will give an update on the current status of the ASU graduate project discussion and possible action.
Okay, so I need to go down there for the presentation?
Bennett is nodding his head yes.
Yeah, is there a presentation or just a discussion? that you-
Just a couple
Yes.
slides, just to throw it up there to remind people where we are.
Thank you.
How can we pull this up to, there you go, excuse me.
Thank you, city staff.
It's on the desktop.
It's on the desktop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
This one. Minimize, there we go. Share. And
Got it? Just a reminder of the timeline. This was updated a couple sessions ago, but I just wanted to remind people where we are. Still in May, discussing the goals of the project, and hopefully in July to be able to start the detailed scope. Recently, I forwarded the GP 2030 survey results that were at the last council meeting, which were very informative. They talked about the city and the population that seemed to support a number of growth initiatives, higher density workplace housing, ideas on transportation, what kinds of things we should be looking at. I'm planning on getting the entire GP 2030 to them as well, so that they have something to start with. And
Is that
realize-
2040? The new one that was discussed at city council was 2040.
2040?
I think
Oh, I thought it was
2030
20.
is completed.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
No worries.
What I'm trying to suggest for the focus of the partnership is really to keep it very simple. One of the notable things that came out of the survey certainly is the quality of life of Kingman. I think everyone is for making sure we have a good quality of life and not just sprawl continue on. To have a real plan for clear areas of growth where we can do a couple things. One, make sure we have affordable workforce housing. When the Arizona Commerce Authority talked about how successful Phoenix has been, they listed really 5 main things. Kingman has 4 of those, but the one it was certainly missing was workforce housing, and particularly affordable workforce housing. What this means is a little bit higher density, making areas of housing versus areas of industry. And that ties in with having affordable mass transit. And when I'm talking about mass transit, I'm talking about when Kingman reaches approximately 100,000 in population, which in my estimates comes up in about 25 years. I noticed that in the general plan, the projection for population is approaching 0. Okay, that's a different opinion. Regardless, when we reach about 100,000, that's when it makes sense to have the low-end transit, such as electrified buses and streetcars. Certainly not light rail. Light rail is something that you look at for 1 million population. We're not anywhere near that. Even in 50 years, we're probably not going to be even getting half that far. We may be looking at rail for tying to Vegas or tying to some of the other major areas, but for Kingman, it's going to be in the low end. Now, whether that's self-standing electric buses or whether it's a catenary system, who knows? That's not the point of this. The point is that we should be looking at being able to set aside the rights of way now, guiding developers to where we're going to have much easier transportation and be able to guide the development to those areas. What do we have to do? Well, we still have to finalize the timing of the funding. And I think that's not something that's 100% in place at this point. Obviously, that'll need council approval. Assuming that we get those two, we do need to make sure that we have a project manager following this from the city's point of view. And that's something that the city manager should be able to assign or in some way have an effect on. It's important to notice that summer break is in place now, and that's kind of slowing the response times from the ASU, but that's why we're looking at a 2-month cycle here to actually finish the scope.
Thank you. I think a next step that I would really like to see is, I- in the top conversation that we had this last month, it sounded like there were some good opportunities to partner. It sounded like there were potentially some other reports that could be generated that are preliminary to the project that you're kind of proposing. I would like to see a work session happen between the city collaborators that are like our commission, possibly some others that are collaborating on that plan, to make sure we have buy-in for the project, and because the partnership wouldn't be just economic development, it's a partnership with the city.
I think we can work to set up a work session, and I think that the folks at ASU should be part of that, so that way we can hear where they feel they could get us a report done within these time frames, and what exactly is the scope of that work that they're going to be working on. So, staff can work with them, work with the commission, and maybe some other parties to schedule a work session.
I think that's a good idea, because we don't have the authority to delegate or put out to assign work to another city staff member. I think there has to be a collaboration from the beginning on the project.
It was clear from the meeting that we had with ASU that they have a lot more resources. This could be the start of a wonderful friendship. There's a good chance to start a small scope project now, just to make sure that we have a vision in place, and then see about developing over the long term, every year or 2 or 3, because that is a kind of a valuable resource that is not overly expensive compared to a lot of the reports that we have gotten in the past. And yet they still have very good expertise. As we know, they've been involved with projects all over the Valley of the Sun.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like that is where the discussion went as well. This would afford us the ability to see what that scope is for that starting project, and then there's opportunity in the future to expand upon that.
Do you have any comments over there, Mr. Bennett? So on a discussion and possible action, so the actual item I'd like to propose then is that let's work with city staff and ASU to set up a work session. If I can get either a motion or an agreement or some disagreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
I got a limited crowd to pick from today, gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna move to the next topic. Mr. Noble, if we can have you come up. That's gonna be item 3C, Kingman Billboard 2024 Leap Year Photo Contest. Tourism Services Manager Josh Noble will give an update on the Kingman Billboard 2024 Leap Year Photo Contest. This is informational. I love these.
Thank you, Commissioner Gish and members of the commission. So we went through all of the photos and shared that with you a few meetings ago. There were approximately 30 photos that, of those that were submitted, that fit in and were good choices. Of those, it was a smaller number that were high quality enough that we could actually use on billboards. A lot of them were smaller pictures, and we reached out to those that submitted those, and none of them had higher quality images. So pretty much the theme that was covered in the pictures that we'd had was outdoors. So the very first image that you see there is using one of the photos that was submitted by one of the contestants. Of course, the deer is a add-on that we've added on to kind of give it a little bit of humor. And then the other 2 billboards are not using photos submitted by the contest, but those are using images that we have on file of activities going on in Kingman, and then, of course, of our new sign. So each one of these would be in a different, one of the 3 different billboards coming into Kingman. I wanted to get your feedback on these. Sure.
I love them. You've got some humor, you've got a lot of the nice montage of all the activities that you can pursue here, as well as the most recent Route 66 sign. I mean, and this is a rotating.
No, so we would reskin these billboards, and then next year, or a couple years down the road, we can reskin again. But
Okay.
they're static billboards. The one on the bottom, we'd have to adjust it so that the event announcement is on a solid background, because those are changed out periodically. If you look at the signs now, there's a black square or rectangle, and that has events listed on it, just like you see in the yellow there. We'd continue that going forward so that we can always announce the upcoming major events in the community.
Commissioner Bennett? He's for it. I do love them. I think they're great. I like that you are highlighting our newest piece of neon, which is currently getting a lot of free marketing out there. I've seen some different things of people posting about it, so that's really, really nice to see. I agree with, I like the montage. You're hitting multiple target markets. You're not just focusing in one area, and that's great.
Well,
Thank you for working on this project.
Thank you.
All right. I think Ms. Curtis, you are up next. We're going to move to item 4B, having already completed A. That's the Kingman Terminal Rail Agreement. Kingman Terminal Rail Operation Agreement update from Terry Curtis, discussion and possible action.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Gish and Commissioners Zimmerman and Bennett and Reisinger. I just want to let you know that we are in the process of updating the agreement for our rail operations with Kingman Terminal Railway. They were originated in 2012, amended and restated in 2014. And so we're in the process of amending a few things, including, since that was previously done with an organization that no longer exists, we're updating that with City of Kingman, and a couple other amendments that are fairly easy, but what we want to do is integrate more, sit down and let's talk about future capital improvements and a marketing plan. So those are a few of them. We are waiting for some updates from another city staff person in regards to that, and then we're going to be complete and be able to present that to council on the 21st of June at their meeting. Any questions? I'm going to have more on that rail thing a little later in the meeting that you have in front of you.
Now, does this include the facility for unloading rail, for loading or unloading?
That is in the agreement already. It talks about the capital improvements, making sure that they are paid for by Kingman Terminal Rail. And then we take, and they have to get all of those different sections that they improve, add, or change approved by us. So that is all still included there, and I know that we have been in multiple conversations with them about more transloading. It's waiting on a couple other issues, so.
This seems incredibly important to expand the vertical integration of the industry park. Great, we've got warehousing and distribution now, but we could add fabrication, assembly, and packaging, do the whole 9 yards from the beginning to end. And that just makes the industry much more accessible and attractive to more jobs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Terry, was there action you were wanting us to take on this?
No, that is no. At this point in time, we're hoping to be a little further ahead, but we have had to wait for some approvals from other
Completely understand. I
departments.
just wanted to make sure we weren't missing the ball.
No, you aren't. So no action required at this time.
Thank you. We're going to move to item 5, reports. A is going to be Mr. Noble with the Tourism Services Manager, Josh Noble. A U.S. Travel Association's International Powwow, AKA IPW, conference.
Chair, Commissioners. So I attended U.S. Travel's IPW in LA earlier this month. This is the largest travel trade show in the United States. There were about 5,700 delegates there from all over the world. I attended as a delegate with the Arizona Office of Tourism, so they had 4 or 5 tables set up where we could have meetings. They had 3 to 4 concurrent meetings going during each session. And I got to meet with 31 different tour operators from 15 countries, as well as the United States. 4 that were from the States, 2 that dealt with domestic and international. They were a receptive tour operator, and 2 that were inbound for Europe and Australia. Also got to sit in and listen in on a National Route 66 Centennial Commission. All the other 7 states have funding appropriated to their centennial initiatives. Arizona is the one state that doesn't this year. Hoping next year we might be able to change that. I guess I don't think the budget is approved on the state level, so there's still some time. If you contact your elected officials on the state level, maybe they can get that in. Also met with a lot of the travel industry representatives that I met with were very interested in our projects. Those that hadn't seen the drive-through shield really liked it. The heart sign was very popular. The muffler man was, I probably shouldn't have said anything because there was a lot of excitement about that one as well. Also went around the floor of the convention and checked out the other Route 66 destinations to see what sort of collateral and things that they were using to help drive traffic. There was a lot of great stuff for Illinois, Oklahoma, Texas, a little bit, and New Mexico. Not as much with Missouri, Kansas, or with California, interestingly enough, even though they were the host of the convention. They really didn't play up on Route 66 as much, but got a lot of good contacts, a lot of good collateral that we can use to help develop what we're wanting to do in Kingman. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Nope, thank you. I appreciate you attending. Again, it's a huge part of tourism is keeping our name out there. And I don't think as many people realize what a travel destination Kingman is, especially internationally, and our proximity to some of the major airports and being a day's drive in. So I appreciate that. That's a lot of work over just a few days. It's a lot. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Absolutely. Glad to do it. Thank you.
Yep. We're going to go to item B, the Airport General Manager, Doug Breckenridge. He's talking about A, airport development, and B, the Dross project.
Chair, Commissioners, update on the Dross project, because this kind of links into the second item. We have signed this substantial completion letter. With that being said, we're doing our final walkthrough Thursday, and hopefully everything will go by smoothly, and we could officially say that construction-wise, granted, we still have to go through some permits, all this will be done. It's been over 95,000 tons worth of aluminum dross removed, over 900 rail cars to transport them out. 19 rail cars are still in Oklahoma waiting to be processed, and we're just kind of finishing up the last bit of the items. That being said, We have a brand-new 15-acre, approximately 15-acre ramp that could be utilized by the businesses on the southern side of the airport, and which will go into the next item. But before I go into the next item, does anybody have any questions about the dross? Okay, next item, last council meeting, we went forward to council. About a few months ago, we issued a RFQ, request for qualifications, for a master developer for 339 acres to develop aeronautical property on the southern end of the airport and along with the eastern, also with a few little parcels scattered within our existing infrastructure. We are hoping to get a little bit more than just one developer, but we did receive one developer proposal back, or actually qualifications. We had a commission that reviewed those qualifications, scored, and was presented to City Council for them to bless those people to go to the second phase. The second phase will be the RFP phase, request for proposal phase, and that will actually go through the designs, the hangar layouts, the structures, their financials, and what type of payments and what type of improvements on the airfield we could foresee. Right now, one thing that people were asking, how much are we anticipating worth investments? We're anywhere from $200 million to almost $250 million worth investments, quite possibly through this development project. And it's not just targeting to store aircraft, it's actually targeting aviation business and aviation business growth.
Question? How do you see the usage of the hangar space, and just how much hangar space was there?
Putting in there their pre-example, or their that they submitted with their LOI. This was the actual original company that kicked off the process. When they submitted an LOI, they provided a rough estimated hangar layout and size. It could change since then, since that was done back in December. But they had some hangars in there that were around 100, 200, 300,000 square feet.
Wow. With that much space, and thinking about the kinds of businesses that can go in there, is there also any movement towards being able to base corporate aircraft here that can service Phoenix, Las Vegas, other parts? A lot of times it's cheaper to have the aircraft housed somewhere like Kingman or outside major metropolitan areas, and that's just easier for getting pilots and having them really just, for example, take how long it takes to get to Vegas, half an hour or so?
They have not discussed that. A lot of these businesses that we believe that they are working with and having talks with them, they're not going to say that information out there for fear of a competitor or another airport coming in and taking them. But by judging some of the hangar sizes, there is that possibility. On the other hand, staff has been looking at other businesses that are coming in and using our airport that are not based out of here, and we have told them about this expansion and this development to see if we can get them to move from what other airport they're at, hopefully come here to Kingman, and just really give them heads up on this possible future development. And I keep saying possible because nothing's guaranteed till we have ink on the paper.
I'm assuming that the various A&P operations here are also cost-effective compared to other major metropolitan areas.
Well, our airframe power plant and maintenance / overhaul sections, we do have them. It is designed for our current businesses, which is aircraft storage, which there's several phases of an A&P, an overhaul facility. This is supposed to attract a little bit more or encourage, how can we say, maintenance providers that go well above and beyond what our current maintenance companies do. Now, our current maintenance companies, aircraft storage companies, working with the group, we don't know. We imagine by looking at their RFQ, they said they are going to work with our current existing tenants, but I imagine that they're also attracting businesses that go a little bit further beyond that. is not really required for storage, but beyond that, such as full-blown D, where you rip an aircraft completely apart, inspect every nut, bolt, ship the engines off to other facilities for them to be taken apart and overhauled.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you regarding the bidding process. So I'm surprised to hear that there's only one bid or one set of qualifications, someone that, with a letter of intent. Are you going to continue to solicit for additional parties, or how does that work? Because I assume if we're going to move to the RFP process, they're going to put a proposal out there, and then it's either we do it or we don't do it. So just having worked in the business field, usually multiple quotes is better than just one.
Unfortunately, due to the fact we're already in this process, we cannot do that. Please keep in mind that whatever they submit, there will be negotiations with this. If there's not enough revenue generated for the airport to maintain all this new infrastructure, the wear and tear on runways and taxiways, and possible future expansions with this, this may not be the greatest thing. So we're keeping that very much in mind. We are very much aware that at the end of the day, we want to keep the airport self-sustaining. If we can get a little bit additional revenue to hire the staff to maintain these facilities, or even start saving up money to approach larger projects on the airport, everywhere from redoing some of our ramps, rehabbing some of our ramps, to even addressing the landfill that's taken up approximately 60 acres on the northern end of the airport. So this will be that revenue factor that will allow us to take on those projects that we just have not been able to put our arms around.
So the single bidder, or I don't know what title you want to give them. So the single person interested in the project is not necessarily of concern.
It's not really of concern at this
Okay.
point. And a lot of these projects with these have been focused at larger airports. Reno Stead Airport, Mesa Gateway, and then also Falcon Field. To my knowledge, this is the first thing that's actually focused on a rural airport. So
Yeah, I know Mesa Gateway won Airport of the Year this last year, so that's, they've got a very nice facility there on the maintenance side.
Yeah, they have two groups out there that are actually developing two separate sections. One is mixed-use aeronautical, non-aeronautical, and another one's non-aeronautical section. So to my knowledge, this is the first time that somebody's actually approaching a rural airport, and hopefully this will be the benchmark for smaller airports and smaller communities throughout our area.
Did you have comments? Thank you. Okay, item 5C, Economic Development Project Manager Sylvia Schaefer, the International Council of Shopping Centers Conference in Las Vegas. So, Ms. Schaefer, if you want to tell us about what happened at ICSC.
Will do. Good afternoon. Just came back from the International Council of Shopping Centers Conference in Las Vegas. We actually attend that conference every year, annually, around May. The conference itself is where major retailers come, commercial developers, and industry experts come, and we do a lot of networking, deal-making, having meetings, marketing Kingman at this event. This year was actually really good. We are working with the retail coach, our retail consultant, and we had several meetings set up that we could meet with some prospective retailers and developers on site. I mean, getting a meeting is actually a major accomplishment, and to have 5 or 6 is just through the roof for this year. So that is great news. I had the pleasure of going with our city manager, Tim Walsh, Vice Mayor Semelli, and they were great to have on the team as part of the, to market and promote Kingman and to show all the opportunities that we have. I started going to this conference in 2019, and from the first time I went to now, there's definitely a higher interest in our area, which is great news. With the bypass Interstate 11, I-4011 going through, that was brought up several times. The 2 interchanges that are in progress, that is this high interest, so that's very important for me for those to keep coming so that we have access to the commercial properties and light industry on both sides. Otherwise, we'll be going back in May. I'll be going to another ICSC conference in Palm Springs in September, which is more regional, but we get out there again and market again. I can't say much more about this conference besides that we just had a really good interest, and now all the follow-up occurs, which is another essential part of this conference. Do you have any questions for me? I guess the only last thing I can include is what I concentrated on, right? What type of retail? I would concentrate on all of it, but really dining, shopping, clothing, and of course we hear the hobby stores, so we try to get it all.
Just one question. There's a picture floating around of a vision for that 160-plus acres right on I-40 that'd be opened by Kingman Crossing. Do you use that picture at all to demonstrate where we're headed?
We did have the conceptuals. Those are both conceptual plans of what we'd like to see. Kingman Crossing has their conceptual, and then we have one as well. We did have that material with us, as well as demographics for the area. Between our team and Retail Coach, we both have demographics and items of like upcoming projects and recent additions to Kingman, because they'd like to see what the recent retail is so they can make comparison, and even some of the statuses, like say Cracker Barrel or In-N-Out, some of our #1 visited sites in the area for that chain. We bring a lot of that information with us, yes. Thank you for asking, though. Okay.
Thank
Well,
you very
thank you.
much. Ms. Curtis, did you have something to add additionally? All right. We're going to move to 5D, Economic Development Project Manager Terry Curtis, value of the Kingman Terminal Railway.
So before you guys is a report that we had recently commissioned, and it's the value of Kingman Terminal Railway. We had this commission from the Regional Economic Development Center out of Yavapai College, and they put it together to make sure that we had a good idea of the economic impact in the area from the rail that we have going through, and also what value does that bring to our community. So Kingman, as I said before, Kingman Terminal Railway has been contracted since 2012. They're also known as Kingman Terminal Railway is a short line provider, a switching yard, or a terminal railway is what it's known for. Their job is to switch rail cars from the Class 1 BNSF and bring them out to the clients that are getting what they need to manufacture or assemble for their distribution in the industrial park. Most of the items are coming in. There's just a few that are going out. So in looking at Kingman Terminal Railway, we see that they have over 3 miles of track that they're responsible for within the industrial park. There is one current transloading area that consists of 2 lines going through 9 acres of property that total 1,400 feet of transloading. They have safety goals. Every month they have to report on what those are and what's happened. During 2023, they had no injuries and they did not have any derailments to report. Their asset standards is that they have to maintain at least 2 engines in the industrial park, and that they maintain, repair, and inspect all 3 miles of that tract monthly, and they provide reports on what they've repaired, exactly what they've repaired. The car loads that we had in 2023 was 2,301 car loads. They anticipate for 2024 of having 2,842. And that's a 23.5% increase over the previous year. They also do switch mode moves and storing of car loads, but I'm not going to bore you with all those numbers. The revenue in 2023 was $85,000. If we see that increase to the 2,842 car loads, then it's an estimated $105,000 revenue expected in 2024.
And Terry, that's revenue to the city.
Yeah,
We make
revenue
a
to the city. I
percentage.
apologize for that, yeah. So we asked how many people use the rail. We have 15 businesses, which is 13% of the businesses out in the industrial park that are using rail. What do they have to say? We would not be in Kingman without rail service or access. Our trucking costs are 1.5 times more than rail. Rail is vital to our business, and without that, we wouldn't be here. It's critical for our supply chain. These are all things that the businesses that are utilizing the rail are saying. So the benefits to access to the rail is the cost savings is number one. It has a business attraction element. We are the largest industrial park in northern Arizona, and we're the largest industrial park with rail outside of Maricopa County. Because of this, it increases the property values out in the industrial park. It increases job growth. It increases our supply chain and makes it more efficient. There's some investor appeal to that we hope to see in the future. And it can accommodate big and heavy items that normally take so much more out of the trucks that are out there on the road, where it, again, costs more to transport those larger loads. So it has a logistics integration with the car loads being brought up, transferred into these companies. It helps save on safety and the traffic on our highways. And it helps with the business expansion of these businesses in the industrial park. When we look at the total economic impact, again, 15 companies using it, that's 13% of our industrial park businesses. It supports indirect and direct jobs of 622 jobs. Indirect and direct payroll supported is 33 million, and the total economic impact of that is $214 million. So we have to give it credit and what it brings to the city of Kingman. So that's all I have to say about it. Do you guys have any questions?
Mr. Bennett would like to comment.
Did you say where that 23% increase came from?
The 23% increase came from what they've already had commitments to from their businesses, and what they have already known has been a gradual increase.
Not one certain industry,
Nope.
just across the board,
Yep.
everybody.
And I will tell you also, and something that was not included in this impact report, is that Clean Harbors has been utilizing the transloading area to transfer all the contaminated soil to Oklahoma. But not only have they been doing that, all those items, all that dirt has already been transferred out. They have already secured a company that's coming in that will provide much more carloads that they're going to be transloading with. They continuously ask us can we get more transloading? So we have that conversation going a lot. And we're looking for ways to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So it says in 2023, there was right now, KGTR commits to contributing 4% of its annual earned revenue to the city of Kingman, and that approximated $85,000. Is that something we are going to see similar going forward in the agreement?
Yeah, we already saw that. That's going to remain in the agreement at that level. And with the anticipation of the growth that they anticipate for 2024, that's where I came up with the $105,000.
And is that money earmarked for something in particular, or is that just general fund?
The money does come back to the city, but it ultimately goes to the airport.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are nearing the end here. We're on item 6, announcements by commission members. Limited to announcements, availability or attendance of conferences and seminars, requests for agenda items for future meetings, and requests for reports from staff. No discussion on any of these items. It does list me on item A, talking about the AZ Association for Economic Development Conference attended by Brittany Gish. Chair Gish will share information from the recent AZ Association of Economic Development Conference in Lake Havasu, Arizona, that she attended with the economic development team. I think I attended along with Wendy. So Wendy, if you would like to comment on that, I'd be more than happy to allow you some time for that. And Becky Fossen from the Chamber of Commerce. Is there anyone I'm missing? Okay. I think the conference was very informative. It was celebrating 50 years of economic development in the city, in the state of Arizona. There were some really good topics discussed. I believe Ms. Curtis gave a presentation on the I-40 trade port corridor, which is an exciting thing that coming to the city of Kingman. It was a great opportunity to connect with people doing economic development in different areas and to see different innovations. They also had some past presidents from way back when there. So it was, for me, also a very good learning opportunity just to sit and listen to them talk. Are there announcements by commission members? Wendy, did you want to say anything?
Nope, I think you covered it.
All I'd like to say is that I'm really looking forward to the Rhythm and Brews Festival coming up on Father's Day weekend, the Friday and Saturday.
Thank you.
Yeah, do we have funds available for the ICSC in Palm Springs for additional commission people to go? Brittany, I'm kidding.
He's got to stop.
Hmm?
I said, you got to stop.
No.
Did you see me look at Bennett?
Yeah. Well, okay. I'd like to make a serious comment. Are there any funds available for additional people to go to ICSC in Palm Springs?
We can definitely check the budget and follow up. Appreciate your interest.
I just wanted to mention for the general public, the ribbon cutting coming up for the downtown streetscapes project. That is going to be June 7th at 5:30. Thank you for the assist. And other than that, I think there's some festivities planned for 4th of July, and should be good. I think, did anybody have any future reports that they would like to look at? Did I miss that? I would like to, I've been fielding some questions about infill, so if we could put that on a future topic, talking about infill along Stockton Hill Road and some different areas along the city, and things that we can do to help promote that. That would be great. Any other comments before we adjourn? Then we are adjourned.